Hey, it is 10 o'clock and we have two hearings for Clatsop County this morning. Is that right?
Yes, we have two hearings scheduled this morning.
Okay. Are we taking the first one? Looks like this is your case, Mr. Ledgerwood, for Mud Lane.
Correct.
Okay. And are we waiting on anybody that you're aware of?
I have no witnesses today. I have not heard from the responsible. I'm expecting him to be here.
Okay. So did you want to wait a few minutes to see if the responsible parties
Yeah,
appear?
I'm fine with giving him a couple of minutes to arrive. I did contact him last week, and he said he had the link, um,
Okay.
the Zoom link.
And for the other hearing for Lewis and Clark Road, do we have everybody here for that one?
Specialist Mendoza is that's her file, and I don't know, Nancy, are you expecting Ms. Yates to be present? Um, I'm not aware of any communication. I know she sent a bunch of letters. I don't know if there's been any communication. I'm not aware.
I think I did see something in the case file for that one that said it was going to be the second hearing, so the person could show up a little later. So we'll go ahead and wait a few minutes
Okay.
and do the mud hearing first.
Okay.
Okay, well, it's 7 minutes past the hour. Mr. Ledgerwood, did you try to contact the responsible parties?
No, I haven't. I've been watching my emails. I haven't received anything or I haven't received any texts.
Okay,
Um,
would you like to proceed? This is the time and date of the hearing, so I'm
it
inclined
is.
to move
Yeah, I
forward.
think we should move forward.
Okay. Okay, we'll open the hearing. It's 10:07 a.m. on May 10th. I did see that the recording is going. Is that still the case? Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Laura Westmeyer. I am Clatsop County Hearings Officer for this matter, and this is the matter of violation number 20-000670 issued to three named responsible parties: Pamela McLeod, Dennis Dean McLeod, Norma Gallagher, and all other occupants concerning a property at 3536 Mud Lane in Astoria. There are 6 violations that were cited by the county. And since the responsible parties are not here, I'm just going to go ahead and let the county speak to those and prepare your, present your case with that, since there's no need to talk about the rights of the parties who are not present. I will say, as the required ex parte disclosures, I'm a neutral third-party hearings officer, and I have no conflicts of interest, bias, or prejudice to report that would affect my ability to conduct the hearing today. Do you have any objection to my hearing this matter, Mr. Ledgerwood or the county?
No objection.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and swear you in. If you will be testifying, do you swear or affirm on the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to provide in this hearing is the full truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, just a reminder, county needs to prove by preponderance of the evidence, even though the parties aren't here, that it's more likely than not that these violations have occurred in order for me to make a finding on each of those. So go ahead and proceed.
I thank you. My name is Rob Ledgerwood. Last name is spelled Ledgerwood. I'm a code-compliance specialist with Clatsop County. This violation file involves 2 adjoining properties. As noted on the notice of violation on February 10th, those properties are 35368 Mud Lane and 35370 Mud Lane. Those are tax lot 1701 and 1702. Those are depicted on document number 5 as a map showing those 2 properties. And the responsible parties of Pamela McLeod and Dennis McLeod are listed on the deeds for those. Norma McGallagher is also listed on the deed for the manufactured home at 35368 Mud Lane, and she resides on the property. The first violation alleged is a public nuisance, solid waste accumulation, specifically of ashes from illegal burning. A public nuisance is defined in Chapter 8.04 of our code, and it states that no property owner or occupant shall create a nuisance or allow a public nuisance to exist. Public nuisance is further defined to include ashes. And in document number 20, specifically site visit photos numbers 6 and 7 represent a large pile of illegal burning ashes. Also document number 21, photos 1 through 3 further illustrate the accumulation of ashes and solid waste on the property. Finally, document number 25, photo number 1 from March 6, 2023, further shows the accumulation of solid waste and ashes left over from the burning. We'd ask that a $500 civil penalty be imposed for the violation if found. We'd like the responsible to be ordered to remove and properly dispose of the ash and the solid waste. If not abated within 60 days, we'd ask that a lien be recorded for the violation, for the ongoing violation. The second violation alleged is a solid waste accumulation, specifically animal semi-solid waste. Similar to the first violation, this is a public nuisance that is defined to include animal solid and semi-solid waste in section 8.04.010 of the Clatsop County Code. Document number 20, photos 6 and 7 show the large pile of used kitty litter and animal solid waste in the foreground of those photos. It's also document number 21. Photo number 2, it's the burned remains of that pile. And so they're burning their waste, but it's the ash and the semi-solid waste still remains on the property. We'd ask that a $500 penalty be imposed for that. We'd ask that the responsible party properly dispose and remove the waste, and that if not abated within 60 days, a lien be recorded on the property for that. The third violation is for an unpermitted development for an RV occupation. This is specifically for a motorhome that is located on the property. In our Land and Development Use Code, LADUC section 2.01, paragraph 1, it says that no person shall engage in or cause to occur development for which a development permit has not been issued. LADUC section 2.03, paragraph 10, provides an exception to a development permit for RV occupation, but it limits that occupation to 30 days out of a 90-day period. The occupation of the motorhome was first observed January 4th, 2023. It became a violation, or it exceeded the threshold established by the exception on February 4th. It's currently 95 days old and ongoing. The RV can be seen in document number 19, photos 1 and 4. Number 1 is the entry to the door, and number 4 is the RV parked in front of the accessory building. Document number 21, photo number 7, shows the RV the motorhome that's been moved inside the accessory building, but the occupants are still living in it on the property. Document number 26, photos 1 and 2. These are taken March 27th. The RV is still in the accessory building. We've had several discussions with the occupants and the responsible parties about the ongoing RV occupation. Some of those discussions are described in the investigation detail report, which is document number 31. Specifically, the site visit notes from January 4th describe the occupants and how to move forward and find housing and the resources that were provided to them to find long-term housing. We would ask that a $500 civil penalty be imposed. We would ask that the responsible party remove the RV from the property as described in LADUC section 2.03, paragraph 10. And if not abated within 60 days from the hearings officer's order, we'd ask that a lien be recorded on the property. The fourth violation is for a separate RV occupation of a fifth wheel on the property. This occurred initially January 4th is when staff first observed this. It became a violation on February 4th. Document number 19, photo number 3, shows the occupied fifth wheel in the driveway of the property. And document number 31, the investigation detail report, has several notes describing the interactions and the progressions of the different RV occupants that have occupied the RV. First, Jason and Christine were occupying it from January 4th to approximately March 20th. A second or a third occupant then moved in and replaced Jason and Christine's occupation around March 20th. And both of these at this time have been exceeded the 30-day out of the 90-day threshold for allowed by our development code. We ask that a $500 penalty be imposed for this separate and ongoing violation. We'd ask that the responsible party remove the RV from the property pursuant to the LAWDA section 2.03, paragraph 10. If not abated within 60 days, we'd ask that a lien be recorded on the property for the violation. The fifth violation alleged is the RV occupation of a park model RV. This is the model of this RV is a Hornet. This violation began before my initial site visit to the property, and that occurred in September of 2020. Document number 1. Those are my field notes from that site visit. It talks about the Hornet fifth wheel and how it's occupied. It says that it's skirted and it's hooked up to a septic system there. That RV occupation has occurred. Mr. McLeod lives in the RV permanently and full-time on the property. Document number 2, photo number 4 shows the stairs attached to the park model. Also document number 25, photo number 2 is a view of the occupied RV with the stairs and all the personal belongings around it. There's several mentions of the occupation in the investigation detail report. Specifically on October 2nd, 2020. It was first listed as a violation on the February 10th, 2023 notice of violation. That's document number 23. We'd ask that there's, if found, we'd ask that a $500 civil penalty be imposed. We'd ask that the RV be removed from the property, and if not abated, we would ask that a lien be recorded on the property. Sixth violation alleged is the unlawful construction or utilization of the on-site septic system on the property. Chapter 9.05, section 0.040, of that section of code describes that the construction of a subsurface sewage disposal system, alternative sewage disposal system, or specifically utilization without an authorized system is a violation of this chapter, and it's deemed to be a public nuisance of chapter 8.04. Document number 1, site visit notes, describes the connection of the park model RV to the on-site septic system. Document number 2, photo number 7, or excuse me, photo number 6 shows the septic connection from the park model RV to the on-site septic. Document number 22 is an email exchange between staff, specifically the environmental health supervisor, describing the requirements that occupied RVs get an authorization notice to be lawfully connected to on-site septic systems. I would like to request that the on-site septic system records for this property 35368 Mudline be submitted as part of the record. It was neglected to be included with the hearing binder that was submitted. I can submit those for record today after the hearing for your consideration. This violation was first noted as in the notice of violation from February 10th, 2023, document number 23 is that notice of violation. It's the 6th violation. We'd ask that a $500 civil penalty be imposed. We'd ask that the RV be disconnected from the on-site septic system, and the RP apply for permits or authorization to connect to that system. If not abated within 60 days, we'd ask that a lien be recorded against the property if found or sustains. Those are the 6 violations the county alleges. I have nothing further.
I just have a couple of questions.
Okay.
For the first 2 counts, the solid waste accumulation, the county has issued 2 citations. For this matter, from what I can see in the pictures, the county could have chosen to do any number of counts of this. For this and other cases, I guess I'm wondering why the county has chosen to do 2 counts versus 1, like you do in other cases.
Yeah, the opinion of the county was that these are 2 distinct acts. They could resolve the illegal burning and the accumulation of ash, but still continue the disposal of animal waste on the property in different locations, and vice versa. We would have no objection if those violations were combined into 1, but initially we viewed them as 2 distinct acts by the responsible party, and they were listed separately.
The dates for them also appeared to be overlapping, and in other words, simultaneous occurrences of both of these.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Correct.
Okay, for count 4, unpermitted development, RV occupation of the 5th wheel. In the photos, how is the county? I'm just wondering, how is the county knowing that it's occupied?
By the admission of the occupants. Jason specifically admitted to the occupation to myself, and Mr. McLeod has also admitted to that. I believe it's been noted in the investigation detail report in December of 2022 when I first became aware of that. Mr. McLeod, on a phone call, he confirmed that someone was living in the front RV on the phone. And the subsequent site visit on January 4th, I was able to speak with the RV occupant, whose name at the time was Jason.
Okay.
Then in March 20th, when a new occupant moved in, her name is Vicky. She admits to living in the RV.
Okay, thank you. And for count 6. This is in regard to the park model RV occupation, correct?
Correct.
On-site septic, okay. So what the county is asking for the RV occupation of the park model is to remove it. In other words, there's not an ability to permit that for occupancy. But for count 6, the county has suggested that the responsible party receive authorization.
Correct.
Are those in conflict?
There is for violation 5, there has been discussion with the responsible party to obtain possibly a health hardship or some permittable way to move forward with the continued occupation. Mr. McLeod is a caretaker of his mom, Norma Gallagher, who lives at the property. There's possibly a way to permit the occupation. It's been presented to him. He hasn't pursued that. The RV occupations and the connection to the on-site septic, we don't know if the on-site septic system is able to accommodate the additional flow of the occupied RV. And so if he could get authorization notice from the Environmental Health Department to connect that, we would be fine with that.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Okay.
I have nothing further, and there's no one from the responsible party here still. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, we'll close the hearing and leave the record open for the sole purpose of your submitting that additional, the additional evidence, the exhibit related to the on-site septic connection.
Okay.
And please email that to all parties and to myself, and then the record will close. This hearing is adjourned. Specialist Mendoza, are you on?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, and are we waiting for anyone that you're aware of for the next hearing? Or can we?
The responsible party is present.
Is present, okay.
Yes.
All right, well then we will begin. We're still on the recording.
So everything you say is going to be recorded.
Okay.
It is 10:29 on Monday, not Monday, Wednesday, May 10th. And this next hearing is file number 20-000268, which was issued to James Robnett and Brian Yates concerning a property at 89677 Lewis and Clark Road in Astoria, Oregon. There are two violations the county alleges here: accumulation of solid waste, which is a public nuisance under the code, section 8.04.010, which is the definition section of the code. Count 2 for an unpermitted development of an auto wrecking yard in violation of the Land and Water Development and Use Code. The county is asking for, if these violations are found, penalties of $500 for each violation, with continuing civil penalties and abatement. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the hearings procedure and how this is going to go before we begin. So I'm Laura Westmeyer, the county's hearings officer for this matter. I am a neutral third-party decision maker for this matter. I have no conflicts of interest or bias or prejudice to report that would affect my ability to conduct the hearing. Does anyone wish to challenge my ability to conduct the hearing? Okay, I hear none. And of the responsible party, it looks like Mr. Yates, you are on line with us today. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then is James Robnett here?
No.
Okay.
James Robnett is, apparently I need to go in and figure out how to get that straightened out. He's the guy that I bought the property from.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm not sure why his name keeps showing up on it, but.
Okay. You can go ahead and speak to that when it's your turn to present your case and arguments. So in terms of the procedure of events, first the county will be presenting its evidence and its facts and case against this property and these responsible parties that they've cited. The county has to prove that it's more likely than not, by a preponderance of the evidence, that each of these two violations occurred. My job is to take all the facts that are presented to me and look at the county code and say yes or no, this violation did or did not occur. And if I do find that they occurred, there will be a sentencing issue. Mr. Yates, you have a question?
Yes. I can't hear anything, so I have to either read your lips, which is impossible. I'm trying to read the words at the same time. If you could slow down just a little bit on how fast you talk, it makes it much easier for me.
Okay, I will do that.
Thank you.
The county has alleged 2 violations. The county will present its case. Mr. Yates, you will have an opportunity to question any of the county's witnesses if you would like to do that and to ask them questions. After the county is done presenting its case, you will have an opportunity to present your testimony, any evidence that you have, any defenses that you wish to assert, all of your arguments. You will have an opportunity to do that if you choose. The county will also have an opportunity to cross-examine you or any of your witnesses and ask questions of them. You're not required to testify, but I will be taking into consideration in my decision all of the facts that are presented before me today from all parties. Again, just to speak to the burden of proof, the county has to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that it is more likely than not that each of these violations occurred. My only job is to look at the county code and receive the facts that you're presenting to me and the county is presenting to me, and to determine whether the violation exists. If the violation does exist, there will be a sentencing issued as well. So I will ask the parties to speak to any potential sentencing and sentencing recommendation in the event that the violation is found. That's all I have in terms of procedure. So I guess I will say, just as a technical matter, because this is a virtual hearing, please do mute your microphone if you can when you're not speaking, so we don't get feedback. And if we do get disconnected for any reason, the hearing will automatically be suspended and paused until we can reconnect again. If you have any trouble hearing or understanding what anybody is saying, please do raise your hand and we can slow things down and do what we can.
Thank you.
To improve that. The last thing I will say is, if anybody in the room right now believes that they may testify, please go ahead and raise your right hand and I will swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you are about to provide in this hearing is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Thank you. Now we will turn to Specialist Mendoza to present the county's case. Go ahead.
Did you want to hear the county recommendations first, Your Honor?
I prefer to hear the recommendation for sentencing after the case is presented.
Okay, thank you. On January 10th, 2019, a final warning was mailed to the property owner at 89677 Lewis and Clark Road, both certified and regular mail. This was a follow-up to a final warning issued January 22nd, 2016. Violations included an auto wrecking yard and accumulation of solid waste. The certified letter was returned unclaimed, unable to forward. On January 25th, 2019, I received an email from the property owner, Brian Yates, stating that we could correspond through email. On May 13th, 2019, a notice of infraction was mailed to the property at 89677. Both a certified and regular mail was mailed, both certified and regular mail. for the violations, accumulation of solid waste, and an auto wrecking yard. The certified letter was returned unclaimed, unable to forward. On February 16th, 2021, a notice of infraction was mailed, both certified and regular, for the violations, auto wrecking yard, and accumulation of solid waste. The certified letter was returned unclaimed, returned to sender. On March 21st, 2023, a notice of violation was mailed, both certified and regular mail, for the violations, accumulation of solid waste, and auto wrecking yard. The certified letter was returned as unclaimed, being returned to sender. 30 days after the issuance of the notice of violation, an administrative review determined the violations were still occurring on the property. On April 26, 2023, a notice of violation, hearings, procedures was mailed, both certified, regular mail, for the violations, public nuisance, accumulation of solid waste, Clatsop County Code, Chapter 8.04, Section 8.04.010, and unpermitted development, auto wrecking yard, Land, Water Development and Use Code, Article 1, Section 1.0500. As of today, the status remains arranged for redelivery of your item, or your item will be returned to sender. On April 28, 2023, a message was left at the phone number 503-325-7549 that the materials for the hearing would be posted on the property. A letter was also mailed that day, both certified and regular, with instructions on how to join the virtual hearing. The status of that delivery remains arranged for redelivery of your item, or your item will be returned to sender. On April 28th, an email was sent to Brian Yates with instructions on how to join the virtual hearing. And on April 28th, the materials, after leaving a message for the hearing, were posted near the property. On May 9th, updated materials for the hearing were sent email to the property owner. An auto wrecking yard is defined in Land and Water Development and Use Code as any property where two or more motor vehicles, not in running condition, or the parts thereof, are stored in the open and are not being restored to operation, or any land, building, or structure used for the wrecking or storing of such motor vehicles, or the parts thereof. The first 8 photos after the web maps show 2 vehicles, a white Chevy pickup and a brown and tan pickup. The white pickup does not appear to have been moved since March 17, 2021, and rather is being used for storage. The brown and tan pickup does not appear to have been moved since May 3, 2019, and is currently blocked by large logs placed on the street side of the property. On March 12, 2021, a GMC truck bed was observed on top of a storage container. This truck bed can also be seen in the photos dated March 14th, 2023 and April 28, 2023. In the March 12, 2021 photo, a truck with a tow rope attached to the front of it was also observed. On March 14th, 2023, the photo shows vehicles, auto parts, construction waste, and other debris. On March 21st, 2023, a photo was taken of a white truck that is not equipped with current license tags. Also observed was a trailer with vehicle parts on it, including axles and wheels, in the front cab of a white truck. These are also shown in the photo dated April 28th, 2023. The photos dated April 27th, 2023, and the 6 following pages show vehicles that have been pushed over the hill into the ravine. On April 28, 2023, a truck, canopy, tires, and a truck bed were observed on the property. The photo from April 28, 2023. The vehicles shown in the photos reasonably appear to be inoperable because they have been discarded on both the front and rear sides of the property. With some of these vehicles appear to be stacked on one another because there are vehicle parts including tires, canopies, truck beds, truck cabs being stored on the property, and because no receipts have been provided that any of these vehicles are being restored to operation. The county concludes this property meets the definition of an auto wrecking yard. An auto wrecking yard is not a permitted use in the residential agriculture zone, RA5. Solid waste is defined in Clatsop County Code, Chapter 8.04, Section 8.04.010. It includes all putrescible and non-putrescible waste, including but not limited to garbage, rubbish, refuse, ashes, waste paper, and cardboard, sewer sludge, commercial, industrial, demolition, and construction waste, discarded and abandoned vehicles or parts thereof, discarded home and industrial appliances, manure, vegetable, or animal solid and semi-solid waste, dead animals, and other waste. A photo taken on March 12, 2021 shows construction waste on top of the container. The same waste can be seen in the photos on March 14, 2023 and April 28, 2023. There are also stacks of chairs and other debris around the storage containers and vehicles. March 14th, 2023, in the photo with, you can see a barrel and construction waste. On March 21st, 2023, solid waste was observed on the property, including a television, construction waste from March 12, 2021, and other containers and debris around the vehicle. April 27th, 2023, the photos taken from the neighbor's property show solid waste along with vehicles being dumped into the ravine. April 28th, it was wheelbarrows, pallets, tires, and some type of poles being stored in the open was observed on the property. The photos taken from the neighbor's property on the web maps, you can see that the property owner's property, and the next one is a map with a small black dot on it. That's approximately where I was on the neighbor's property, taking pictures of the vehicles and other waste dumped into the ravine. Construction materials on the property are not being properly stored to maintain the integrity of the material. Items including a television, stacks of chairs, pallets, wheelbarrows, and other debris appear to be discarded on the property. This also includes a jet ski and other identifiable materials dumped in the ravine. This is considered disposal of solid waste. It is a public nuisance and is not an allowable use of the property. That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Specialist Mendoza. Just one question. So I was looking at the notice of violation from April 26th. It looks like there are various notices written to both Brian Yates and James Robnett. Is the county only, are these violations concerning James Robnett at all, or is this an old violation that I'm looking at?
No, I included James at the time because in the county records, it still shows James as a property owner. I spoke with Mr. Yates at a later date, and he verified that he is just the only property owner. So we are not, the county is not holding James responsible.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Text thing doesn't work very well, does it?
Mr. Yates, you'll have an opportunity to present anything that you would like to say and present at this time. I'm just asking if you have any questions for Specialist Mendoza regarding her testimony or the facts that she presented.
I don't believe that I do.
Okay. Specialist Mendoza, do you have anything further from the county or any other witnesses?
I do not.
Okay, Mr. Yates, if you would like to testify or present witnesses, you're free to do so.
All right. Okay, so I don't know how to present this other than show you. Here's the picture of this two-tone brown truck she's talking about. The county just cut some trees down here in the last month and a half, and we laid the log right there next to the tree. There's nothing wrong with that truck, except it's got a 5,000-pound safe sitting in the back of it that I can't get out of it. And they won't take it down at the dump for scrap steel because they claim that it has asbestos inside of it, is what they used back in those days for the fireproofing. So, and I don't have anything that can lift that out of there, much less I got to figure out what to do with it. So, I mean, if there was a way to help me deal with that, that would be excellent. Okay. The other thing I have is this picture is 3 years ago. And it's showing, I mean, we've got the truck sitting there with a load of scrap in it ready to go to the scrap yard. And I don't know, and they're complaining about that. You know, the insulation up on the roof of the shipping container is for our house. I'm sorry. Wait a minute, let me find the camera. It doesn't look anything like that there now. But the insulation is for our roof on our house that we have to redo, which I have not been able to do due to health reasons. I've spent the last 8 months, well, from June until middle of March, end of February, middle of March, in bed sick. Had to have surgery on my sinuses and stuff. So my kids have been taking care of me. She has this picture of our wood truck sitting out front that she claims is inoperable. There's nothing wrong with this truck. The license plate is in the back window. It's not on the back bumper. You know, and it's obvious the truck gets used all the time because it's moved all the time. All right, hang on. We got another one here somewhere. I mean, I get it. I have things that we are working on getting cleaned up at the house. Solid waste garbage we do not have. This truck, and we're working on getting that moved and taken care of right now. I've got that big steel grain silo sitting on top of the lumber rack, and with my tractor broke down right now, I'm having some kind of problems with the hydraulics. I cannot pick that up and move it. My 15-year-old son has been doing all the stuff that I haven't been able to do because of how my health has been. This truck runs and drives just fine. And we are in the process of getting it dealt with. Hang on, I'm sorry, I'm not very organized here. Okay, here. She's complaining about the tires and stuff. Okay, you can, let me check. All right, so you can see the jack. There's an airlift jack sitting right there. And then there's the spare tire for the truck. And we were changing a tire on the truck, apparently, when she came by that time and took a picture. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. And that's just the spare tire for the truck. Yes, we do have wooden pallets sitting there. We were going to use them. I was going to build my kids a tree house out of them. And I ended up sick, and I just have not been able to do a lot of things that I need to do. Now, this stuff that we're getting accused of pushing over the bank, we're not pushing. Everything's backwards. We're not pushing stuff over the bank. The boat I have tried to deal with. There's no paperwork to the boat. The county has no way of dealing with this, except they tell me I have to get rid of this boat in a legal manner, and yet there is no legal manner to get rid of the boat. You know, they provide all the threats of we're going to fine you for all of this stuff, but they don't provide any solutions on what they could do to make it where I can get rid of it. I mean, there's got to be some kind of way to get rid of something like this. You know, they say I have to have legal receipts showing I got rid of it legally. how am I supposed to do that when there is no legal way to do it? You know, so obviously sawing it up in pieces and burning it, which I wouldn't want to do, is, you know, not legal at all. You know, I need to have some kind of an option here. This stuff that you see sitting here, that's not a vehicle. That is a boat sitting there that's been sitting there since way before we bought the property. And it's not down in the ravine at all. I mean, granted, I have too much stuff sitting around and I am working on it. You know, we do not have a wrecking yard. I don't sell anything. What we have are trucks we've used over the years with our business, and then they sit and they get parked, and I'm using something else. I come back, I use them when I need them, but I don't always need them. Hang on a second here. People walking through. You know, and what's been a problem is when I first bought this property, the county had not improved the road in front of it. So the county came through and decided they would improve the road in front of my property. So they raised the road up 2 feet higher than my property and never planned on what that would do to my property with the water runoff from it. They didn't put a ditch in on my side. There's nothing. When it rains out at my house in the wintertime, which it does all the time here in Oregon, in Astoria anyway, I have a solid river running across my property of water, and it turns my place into a swamp. It was never like that before the county put this upgraded road in. And I have talked with the county, with one of the community development gentlemen that had talked to me before about that, but the county never gets back to me on that. You know, you'd think that they would assess the damage it's going to do to somebody's property. The old road was skinnier, and the only ditch was on the other side of the road from my house. So they come through, and the road was a foot lower than my property back then. They raised that road up. They raised it up 4 feet out where my garden is. Where you used to walk up into my garden, it's a 3.5 foot drop down to it now. And every time it rains, we've got, now I'm guessing my property line along the road is approximately 400 feet. And I'm getting water runoff from 25 feet of county road and that right of way that they have next to their road running across my place like a river in the wintertime. And when the wintertime is there and I have time to work on these things, I can't even walk across my yard in muck boots without leaving 3-inch tracks in them. You know, so I mean, that's been a problem, and the county doesn't ever seem to address that. I had talked with one of the community, I cannot remember the gentleman's name, but one of the community development people about that before, but the county never got back to me about it. In fact, I don't even know how they can fix it. You would think that they would have planned something or thought that out before they came and did what they did with the road. But the only way that I see that they're ever going to be able to put a ditch in is they're going to have to cut all of our timber down in front of our house to even put a ditch in. Because if you come and dig all the tree roots up on one side, the wind's going to blow a tree down across our house. You know, I've been a single parent for all of my son's life, raising my 2 kids, and it's challenging. You know, my health in the last 4 years has gone from I never was sick to crap, I've been through surgery and everything else so much lately, I don't even know what's going on half the time. We are working on it and getting it cleaned up, and I would really just appreciate if I had a little bit more time to keep working on it. You can go by the house right now and see that we have made a lot of changes, and we are working on it. What would be really nice is if the county could give you, instead of coming by and threatening you all the time with, we're going to fine you, you've got a week, you can't do nothing, your hearing will only give you 30 days, and then you're getting all these fines. we've changed everything to where we can fine you differently. These are the things I hear. What would be really nice to see them change something to where they can help me. There's got to be an out somewhere. I'm not an unreasonable person, but there's got to be a way to get rid of this stuff. The two boats sitting there that I can't do anything with, there is no out. I can't take them to the wrecking yard. They won't touch them. You can't take them to the dump. You can't dump them up there. It's frustrating. We need answers that would be a little more helpful. I'm not trying to say I'm above the rules by any means, but some of these pictures are extremely out of context. Now, hang on just a second, if you would, please. I do have something circled somewhere. I keep getting accused of having garbage around, and you can't walk around my place and find garbage. I have cinder blocks that we use for things. I have the roofing insulation tied down on top that's got to go in my roof when I put it on, tied down on top of that shipping container. Yes, I do. I have the bed off of our pickup truck. When we put a dump bed off on it to save the bed, we set that up there. I don't see where that's improperly stored. I don't sell anything. I don't have a wrecking yard. You can come by and say it's a wrecking yard, but it's not a wrecking yard. And I don't have solid waste laying around, garbage. And some of these I don't have sewer sludge, and I don't know. I'm a little frustrated. I'll give you that. I'm trying to deal with this, but when I'm laying in bed for 6-7 months here this last year, this has been, my son is supposed to be able to be a kid, and he's doing just about everything that's been getting done around there, which is giving up parts of him that shouldn't have to be, but, they've been taking care of me. And I don't know, that's just where I'm at. I'm sorry if I'm just rambling. I'm trying not to. I just find the whole thing frustrating because anytime Nancy stops by, she never has anything that could be helpful towards a solution. It's always doom and gloom. You've got a week, it's pouring down rain. She shows up when my yard's like a marsh. It's drying up now. We can actually walk across the yard now, which this is about the time it does get like this where I can do something. The only reason my taxes, she asked me about my property taxes, which I was 4 years behind on. The only reason those got paid are my children pitched in together and paid them for me so I wouldn't lose the house while I was in bed sick this year. I am trying, and we are getting stuff done. You can drive by there right now and you can see that we've gotten quite a bit done in the last 2 weeks. I'm trying to get my strength back and get back on my feet. I'm 60 years old, and when you lay in bed for 7.5 months, man, that messes you up on a level that I honestly didn't expect.
Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Yates. I have one question for you, just as a clarification. So the county is alleging the auto wrecking yard violation, which means 2 or more motor vehicles are not in operable condition. Is it your position that all of the vehicles on your property are operable?
No, ma'am. I probably have about 6 or 8 at least that I need to get rid of, yes, but you can't. I have to be able to get back in there, which it's just drying up enough to do. Old trucks that when they broke down and our new truck would need something, we robbed a couple parts off of them so we didn't have to go buy it at the parts store. So no, I'm not going to sit and say that that's not true, because I do have some vehicles sitting around that I do need to get rid of, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Specialist Mendoza, do you have any questions for Mr. Yates?
I do not.
Okay. Mr. Yates, do you have any other witnesses that you would like to speak at this time?
Well, just my son sitting here. If you want to ask him anything, I mean,
I have no questions for him, but you're welcome to have any witnesses that you would like.
the only thing he can really testify to is how hard he's been working around there with me walking around pointing at stuff literally. And then the fact that they have took care of me for 8 months out of the last year, trying to get me back on my feet.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you for that testimony. Okay. Specialist Mendoza, did you speak to the sentencing recommendation of the county? If not, would you do so at this time?
I will, thank you. The county recommends that a $500 fine be paid for the violation of the auto wrecking yard, that a $500 fine be paid for the violation of accumulation of solid waste. The property owner be given 180 days, 6 months to clear the property of the 2 violations. The county requests that if the violations are not cleared within the 180 days, the remaining fines of $19,500 for the auto wrecking yard and $19,500 for the accumulation of solid waste be recorded with the county clerk's office as a lien placed on the property. That's all.
Mr. Yates, do you have any comment or alternative recommendation for sentencing if violations are found?
Okay, here's what I have to say. Putting us in worse financial hardship than we're already in is not going to do anybody any favors. It sure isn't going to speed the process up because I'm having a hard time scraping up enough money just to keep the bills paid right now. If, the 180 days, that's time for us to get a lot done. And I hear that. I do have to deal with the fact that our business is going to start getting busy and I have to deal with work. I homeschool my kids. That's a lot of work. My kids in sports, that's a lot of work. I would ask that instead of putting us in more hardship financially than we're already in, if maybe the 2 $500 fines could be suspended until the 180 days is up and give me a chance to show you that we're not, pardon my language, that we're not screwing around, that we're getting stuff done there. And I guess that's all I have to ask. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all for your testimony today. I will take the matter under advisement and issue a written opinion. This hearing is now adjourned. Thank you.